Hello everyone, it's Sal, Stretford Post. How you're doing? And welcome to another episode of Chatterbox. Hope everyone's doing good. Hope everyone's doing fine. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. A little bit of a late show for me tonight. It is 7 p.m. where I am. Thank you guys for waiting up. Thank you for joining me. I know it's a little bit earlier in Europe, but guys, thank you anyway. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new. And please don't forget to smash a like on the video if you guys can do that for me. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me now. It is very close with Martinez. Martinez, shock horror. Could be a Manchester United player. The goalkeeper for Aston Villa looks likely to sign for Manchester United in a £40 million or euro deal. Now, what do I make of this? Now, look, guys, I don't deal with, just absolutes in regards to what I think at the end of the day. He's not my favorite goalkeeper. He's not the goalkeeper I would want. But would that represent an improvement? Yes, it would be an improvement to Onana. And we'd be lying to ourselves if we said it wouldn't be an improvement of Onana. The biggest concern that I have is obviously the price tag. The price tag is 40 million euros, or it could be pounds. It is 40 is the mark anyway, and that is way over the mark, in my opinion. When a player has 1 year left on his contract and is 33 years old, going on 33 years old, it's a lot of money to pay, especially the position that we are in. Man United do need a goalkeeper. We need a goalkeeper who is more competent, more who offers confidence and inspiration to the team. With Onana, he's been giving us anxiety, indecisiveness, and he's just not that goalkeeper to take us forward. Now, Onana, of course, we cannot sell Onana unless we sell him for 27 million. Man United will be affected by the PSR and FFP, so we have to sell him for around that price. Who is going to buy Onana for around that price? There's talks about Monaco purchasing Onana. Will they pay that money? You know what? Monaco over the years have sold many players, guys. And look at let me just get my hair. My hair's absolute mess. But Monaco have sold a lot of players over the years, and where does their money go? Where does their money go? I want to know where Monaco's money goes, because they don't really buy anyone, do they? But it is very interesting. It's an interesting scenario. In fact, it is. I'm looking forward to seeing it, because Martinez comes to Man United. It puts a lot of pressure on Onana straight away, doesn't it? Onana is not going to want to be playing second fiddle to Martinez. Martinez won't be wanting to play second fiddle to Onana. So where do we go from here? You know what I mean? One thing I would say is that now is the time to sell Onana. Look, it's very unfortunate for Man United this day and age, because back in the day when Alex Ferguson was manager of Man United, we could buy a goalkeeper and then he might not be that goalkeeper. For example, Massimo Taibi, right? We could buy a goalkeeper and then he might not be that goalkeeper. We could ship him off, get another goalkeeper. A bit like what Man City do at the moment. Like, he's not my right back. He's not my centre back. We're going to get another one. Nah, he's not good enough. Get another one. Spend money, spend money, spend money. Man United at the moment are like, you don't get it right the first time. So what? Tough luck. That is just the way it is. And that's the problem that Man United have at the moment. So, unfortunately, when you purchase goalkeepers, not always, in fact, a lot of the time, they're not the right goalkeeper. They're not. Look at Arsenal, how much they struggled to find a goalkeeper. Man City, when they bought Bravo and a couple of other goalkeepers before, they've obviously got Edison in their goal. You need to try a few goalkeepers before you can actually find the right one, because goalkeepers is a notoriously difficult position to fill. Look, Martinez has never been... Look, Martinez played for Arsenal, guys. Martinez, back in his career, played for Arsenal. He played for Arsenal, so... at the end of the day, he's been in the Premier League quite a while. He started off a non-league football, I believe. And, I like him as a goalkeeper. I think he's good. He's capable of bozo moments, as most goalkeepers are, by the way. But, what I would say is that I just so don't want us to pay 40 million on him. I think it would just be a big waste of funds, especially if we can get a decent goalkeeper for half the price of it. Absolutely. Some of your comments. Let's read some of your comments. Let's see what's going on in the house. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for joining me this evening, guys. Different time, of course. Big up Lucky Singh. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Hope you're well. Good to see you, mate. Big up Tamiscan. Ephraim. Good afternoon, Sal. What are your thoughts on Liverpool transfer window? What do I think of Liverpool's transfer window, Ephraim? Absolutely phenomenal. I'm jealous. Anyone who loves football, right, who loves this football team, Man United, would be jealous of Liverpool. We hate Liverpool, but the way they're run as a football club is the way we should be run by. We shouldn't be looking at Chelsea. We should be looking at the way Liverpool do things. Liverpool do things in a way that, there's no sensationalism. There's no media hype. They want works, they get works. They want Frimpong, they get Frimpong. They get Kirkis, they get Kirkis. They get things done. But not only do they get things done, apart from Florian Wirtz, that's a one-off. The 100 and odd million that they're paying on Florian Wirtz, right? They're probably spending the money they made in the Champions League, which is 200 million the last 2 years. This is why it's so important for Man United getting in the Champions League. They're probably spending the money they got in the Champions League, right, to buy Florian Wirtz. But apart from Florian Wirtz, every transfer that they get, more or less, is bargained. Is like, wow, they got McAllister for 35 million. Wow, they got Frimpong, for that price. Wow, they got Kirkis for that price. And the thing is how efficient they are. They're very efficient. They get things done. They get things done quickly. We are still hovering around. Obviously, Mbeumo is done, in my opinion, but we're still taking our time to announce it. Why aren't we announcing it, guys? Let me tell you this, right? Man United won't announce the Mbeumo deal yet because they don't want us to start thinking about striker now. You know what I mean? That's what we're going to be doing. We need a striker now. What are you doing? Let's go and get a striker now. That's what we need to do. So they're delaying this whole Mbeumo announcement, even though it's been done. They just want to take their time in the window. They want to drag it out. They want to dilute the window all the way to the end. So that for example, if Man United sign Mbeumo today, and then Man United tomorrow sign Gyökeres, right? That would be 3 players. Then what the fan base going to do? The whole summer, we're not going to be quiet. We're going to be going, what's next? What's next? Where's Vanderson? Where's Ederson? Where's Wharton? You know what I mean? We're going to be like that. And this is the thing, of course. I'm very shocked about the goalkeeper. I was led to believe Man United won't be making a move for a goalkeeper, let alone a £40 million goalkeeper, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely. Ephraim, hi Sal, why are people hyping up Wilcott's done what we have to do? Big up Rajat, big up Ephraim. Hi Rajat, how you doing? Cornish Maid, afternoon, how you doing? Big up Sal. Wouldn't it be great if Sancho was sold to Juve and Napoli? Secondly, I have a sneaky suspicion that we will buy Martinez and Villa will buy Rashid or Garnacho. Great teams PSR. Absolutely, Cornish Maid. Look, you know what? If this happened, Cornish, I would applaud it. If this actually happened and we got Martinez and we sold Rashford to Aston Villa. Problem with Rashford, he doesn't want to go to Aston Villa. He doesn't want to leave. He doesn't want to go to Aston Villa. He's not on it. In regards to Garnacho, it could be. Garnacho could go to Aston Villa. Would I mind him going to Aston Villa? No, I wouldn't mind him. I much prefer him to go to Aston Villa than to go to, for example, Chelsea. I wouldn't want that at the end of the day. But yeah, look, if there was a deal to be done like that, I would applaud it. And I'll say, yeah, well done. Like, you know what? They killed 2 birds with 1 stone, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? Got rid of Rashford, bought a Martinez, or got rid of Garnacho, bought Martinez. Personally, in regards to Sancho has been rumoured to be interest coming in from Juventus at the moment. Look, Juventus are a big club. They haven't been the same club as for the last few years in regards to the way they have been in the league. They've been far behind Inter Milan and Napoli and AC Milan and other clubs like that. What I would say about Juventus at the moment is that could they afford Jadon Sancho? Could they buy Jadon Sancho? Look, I just can't see how Juventus find the funds. Not to buy him cash, but I'm talking about to pay his wages, his astronomical wages. What you're talking about, 300 grand a week. Sancho has already stated he doesn't want to lower his wages. So what are we doing? So are we going to do a loan to Juventus? Is it going to be a loan? Is it going to be that? Because I don't think Juventus have any problem paying the fee. I don't think they have any problem paying 25, 30 million for Sancho. I think they have a problem paying 300 grand for Sancho in regards to wages. Absolutely. Now, Sancho hasn't turned his back on Juventus. He hasn't turned his back on Napoli. I just don't think that they can afford the wages. I mean, the most likely scenario is Garnacho will go to Napoli and Sancho will go on loan. That is what I'm thinking. That is the most likely scenario, although Garnacho wants to stay in the Premier League. It is all up in the air, guys. And there is a lot of ins and outs and oohs and ahs in regards to transfers at the moment. It is getting a bit chaotic at the moment, guys. Absolutely. So much to fill your brains. Cornish, big up. Do not want Emi Martinez. Better than Onana. Yeah, absolutely better than Onana. 100%. Big up. Grayo, what's going on, my brother? Hope you're doing well. Please, everyone, can you smash the like, subscribe button? I will be spending too much on Martinez saying that anything is better than Onana. I agree with that, Grayo. The only thing is I don't want it to hamper. I don't want that money to disrupt Manchester United's quest for getting a striker, for getting other positions on the pitch, because I believe we can get him cheaper. But as Cornish Maid says, if a deal is done between Rashford and or Garnacho with Martinez, then that kills two birds, one stone, and then we won't be really spending any money, and it will help both of us with our PSR, isn't it? So that is an absolutely good point. And I would applaud that. If Man United managed to do something like that, I would actually applaud it and, say like, well, at least we got a decent goalkeeper in there, and at least we got Rashford out. You know what I mean? I would much prefer Rashford and Sancho than Garnacho, by the way. That would be absolutely. Big up Danny B. Big up Sal. Big up. Far better than he is. Far better than Onana, Rajat. Look, facts don't lie. Mr. Onana has made more goals leading to mistakes for a goalkeeper than anyone else in the Premier League, and that's not including the goals that don't go on that statistic. That's not including the times when Onana has stood on this side of the goal, leaving a big space over there for them to shoot. That's not including that. That's not including when Onana parries it out to the opposition. That ain't mistakes leading to goals, but he's done that many, many times. But still, even when we discount those things, he's still the worst goalkeeper in the league in regards to goal mistakes leading to goals. That is what it is. It's a factual thing. Martinez is a far better player than him. Martinez is the Argentine international goalkeeper. At the end of the day, won the Copa de Libertadores, won the Copa America, won the World Cup. People just talking about the World Cup. He's won a lot more than that. You know what I mean? We have to be fair. He's not my favorite choice, Raja. He's not my first choice goalkeeper. Absolutely not. You know what I mean? Absolutely not. Certainly not for 40 million. But to say he's not better than Onana, come on, Raja. Come on. Really, really, really crazy. Anything 50 minutes, I agree with that. That is good. That's an intelligent comment. Absolutely, Danny. Everyone's supposed to like us, I can't stop laughing or thinking it's funny that Rashford and Sancho is so unwanted in the whole football. I know wages is part. But anyways, look, at the end of the day, Helge, weren't Chelsea willing to pay Man United to get rid of him? They paid Man United. Take him back. Take him back. I don't want him anymore. Take him back. Crazy, isn't it, at the end of the day? And this should be, like, any sane person, this should be a great humbler for Rashford, for Sancho. This should humble them that someone was willing to pay to send you back, someone was willing to do that. They were willing to pay them to go back. We don't want you anymore. No, well, Sancho anyway, we don't want you anymore. It's madness, isn't it? But this is the big question. This is the good question, Raja. Will Onana leave? We do not know. No, of course not. He won't want to leave. But the World Cup is coming next year, Raja. The World Cup is coming. The Cameroon will qualify for the World Cup. He wants to play in the World Cup. If he's not playing football, there are other goalkeepers in Cameroon around the world who would take his place. So if he's not playing football, he's not going to want to sit on the reserve bench. You know? There we are. Absolutely. Big up, Steve. What's going on, my friend? I'll be doing well. Hi, Sal. 40 million for a keeper has valued a DPH quicker than a brand new car in the next few years. This is the thing. Like, you know what? And I like to deal with arguments like this because, Steve, you know what? You're absolutely right. And we've seen it. At the end of the day, not every goalkeeper is going to play until they're 40. Not every goalkeeper does play until they're 40. You do have goalkeepers like Peter Schmeichel or Raman van der Sar and goalkeepers of that ilk who played till they're very old. Peter Cech. But they were athletes. They were different. Not every goalkeeper is the same. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, we bought Van der Sar we bought Van der Sar at 30. Was it 35 years old? You know, stuff like that." Yeah, but he cost 2 million. He cost 2 million. I mean, he cost 2 million. Van der Sar. You know, Helge. Forest, Fulham, Dortmund, Inter, etc. Mention a few random clubs. They buy random players, 30, 40 million at a time. Average players. Chelsea pay to not have Sancho and Rashford. I mean, absolutely, mate. Look, at the end of the day, look, you look at the likes of Borussia Dortmund and you look at them, how they love Sancho, how they are tweeting, how welcome home Sancho and blah, blah, blah. When it came to spend the money, where were Dortmund? Where were Dortmund? Where's their long lost family, eh? You know, where's the loyalty there? They didn't want to pay the money, did they? And Mr. Sancho didn't want to take a pay cut. You know what I mean? Mercenary, if there ever was one. Bill, good evening. Big up. Who said Martinez is out for a minute? If we do buy him, hopefully it will push Onana to look for another club. Method in the madness. So, Bill, there you go. But you know what? I like to go towards Cornish maids analogy. If Man United managed to do a deal with either Sancho, Rashford or Garnacho for Martinez, not all of them, but one for one, I think that will be a good deal. I do. If Man United don't pay that 40 million, because we need that money, by all means, we're still trying to get Bremo through the door and we're still trying to get a striker through the door. The biggest problem with Man United, I mean, as much as we needed a goalkeeper, the biggest problem last season for Man United was the bloody scoring goals. Scoring goals was the biggest problem, not conceding, even though we did concede some stupid goals. We lost a lot of games by 1 goal, by the way. Hey, Sal, Emi is a Premier League proven a big player who can handle the weight of United's heavy jersey. This is the thing, Tulip. Look, you know what? I say this. It's just, as I've said over again on this show, is that I like the goalkeeper. It's just the price I don't like. I don't like the price. I think 40 million is too much for him. He's 33. We're only going to have him for 2 years. You know, we need to look at someone who's going to be between the sticks for a longer period of time, who can bed themselves into Old Trafford. Look, scout. But no doubt, Emi Martinez is the personality that Man United are looking for. He's a great personality. He fits Man United more than Onana. Now, look, Leverkusen have gone out and bought Quenza from Liverpool for 30 million. You know what I mean? 30 million for a player who hardly plays. What's he played? 17 games for Liverpool? Something like that. Isn't that crazy? You know, and he goes for 30 million. So what are Man United doing? I like to blame the Ineos, Wilcox, Favel, you know, all these guys, right? And I want to know what's going on here, because why are we taking so long? Why can't we sell players? Why is it Liverpool can sell a player who hardly plays for 30 million and we can't get rid of the likes of Sancho and Rashford? And now I've already spoken about my analogy about this. The problem with Rashford and Sancho is that they've openly exposed themselves to the media. They've exposed themselves to world football. They've actually given themselves a bad name, you know, that they're trouble, that they like to go party, that they like to have itchy fingers on the Twitter, the old Twitter, and write tweets about the manager and keep it on there for 2 weeks. Do you know what I mean? That's why these players, people are like, yeah, how much does he get? Oh, and Quenza doesn't get 300 grand a week. You know, Sancho gets 300 grand a week. Rashford is not far off that. Do you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, says Jim Ratcliffe, you know what I mean? Guys, Martinez as 3 match ban. He missed the first 3 is an awful move. 3 matches is not 10 matches, mate. 3 matches is nothing. Absolutely not. 40 million is an awful move. All goalkeepers have a clanger in them. Emi is dominant at claiming crosses, 95% tile. Right, guys, look, you know what? Anyone who wants to criticize Emi Martinez doesn't really understand ball. I would give you the problems of Emi Martinez, and I would tell you the good things about Emi Martinez, as I would tell you the good things about other goalkeepers as well. If I wanted to tell you about Seny Lamens, if I wanted to tell you about the Roma keeper, if I wanted to tell you about Courtois, if I wanted to tell you about, you know, the Barcelona keeper that they just signed, or Ter Stegen or someone like that, I could tell you about those goalkeepers. Martinez is capable of a bozo moment, but so are other goalkeepers, right? Not least when he played Man United, you know, at the last game of the season, he made that stupid error that led to the red card. He's only banned for 3 games. It's not 20 games, as some people are saying. People acting like he's banned for 20 games. He's banned for 3 games. You know, we got Vitek coming in, the young lad who's been smashing it at the end of the day. But who's to say we can't keep both goalkeepers? Who's to say we can't keep Onana? Who's to say that, you know, at the end of the day? What I would say, I'm less interested about how many games he's banned for. I'm more interested in how much money we're going to pay for him. You know, how much money we're going to pay. I've been around the block a very long time, guys. You know what I mean? I've been supporting this football club a very long time, half of my life, you know. And at the end of the day, I respect everyone's opinions, but there are people who don't like somebody and they'll use something to add weight to their narrative, not knowing that what they're using is a weak argument in regards to adding power to their narrative. You know, so at the end of the day, I support Manchester United. I want Manchester United to be there. I would give my ideas. You would give your ideas. Right. Who would you want in goal? Who's going to be better at the end of the day? Onana is not better than Martinez. That's a lie. That's fitting. That's a weak argument to your narrative. Yes, weak, you know, at the end of the day. And look, I like Onana. You know, guys, I like Onana. I like him as a person. I think he's a great personality, but he is not that guy. He's not. He's probably one of the worst goalkeepers in the league. And I'm telling you right now, as a factual thing, right? He's probably in the lower half. Anyway, we were in the lower half. Raja, Emi is not good. Who give damn about what he did? Who gave a damn? Who gave a damn about someone who won the World Cup, Raja? Raja, mate, you know what I mean? I mean, come and suggest a goalkeeper if you think he's better, because at the end of the day, he's better than Onana, mate. And I've been watching football a lot longer than you. You weren't born when I started watching Man United. And I'll tell you right now, he's a better goalkeeper. And no offense to you, Raja, but that opinion is dead bait. Absolutely. Chelsea 2020 to 23 sold like 15 players and bought 15 one summer. Big up Helge, by the way. Liverpool wins the league and buys Frimpong, Kirkis. We already, City have disappointed season, but buy 4 or 5 players. There you go. This is why Man United needed a full sale, isn't it, Helge? Here we go. This is exactly what it was. This is exactly what it is. This is why Man United needed a full sale. This is exactly what it is. This sort of scenario that we were envisioning a long time ago. That if we just if Jim Ratcliffe on his vanity project, stepped aside, we could have got Qatar in charge. Look, I've always said it, and I said it today. Letting old people with ego take charge of massive corporations or countries even is dangerous. Is dangerous, like I've been saying for a long time. Letting old people, right, and no offense to old people who are 77 years old, take charge of a entity, a football club or a country or something like that is dangerous. Why is it dangerous? Because they might be looking to fill up their legacy. They might be looking to fill up their legacy. They might be looking to, you know what, that regeneration project, what is going to be my legacy? What's going to be my legacy? A new stadium. A new stadium is going to be my legacy. That's going to be my legacy. Do you know what I mean? Starting World War III. That's going to be my legacy. You know what I mean? Giving old people, power is the wrong thing to do. Honest to God, guys. And I'm not saying that as an ageist things and that. I'm not exactly no spring chicken myself. So I would say that at the end of the day. And this is what happened with Man United, unfortunately. Vanity project. Tulip, part of me wants to be stuck with Onana and Højlund because our fans are snobbish to the new players. We are lucky Emmy wants to join 15th place. I mean, Tulip, people don't understand, right? As I said, Emmy, like Tulip, I would never criticize Martinez and I wouldn't say it's just the World Cup. So it's just the Champions League. It's just the FA Cup. It's just the Premier League. It's just this. It's just that. He's won the Copa America, the Copa Libertadores. He's won the World Cup. He's also got Aston Villa to the top 4. At the end of the day, look, people have their opinions and I respect their opinions, but, it doesn't mean opinions ain't facts. Just take them in and let them go at the end of the day. Absolutely. Villa want 40 minutes, so most likely we can sign him for 30 plus 5 value and millions on add-ons. Wait and see. Let's wait and see. Helge, while we ended up 16th or whatever, people, this is the thing, isn't it? Isn't it, Helge? People are using that 15th. How many times have I heard that 15th thing? I mean, if I got £1 every time I heard that, for goodness sake. Had the worst season ever, bought 1 and sold none. I'm absolutely fuming about how unserious we are. We are moving like we have won the league 5 years in a row. Even, look, you know what I would say? Is like, when we won the league back in the 90s, when Roy Keane was around and stuff like that, Roy Keane was disappointed because Man United didn't go on and improve. They didn't improve. So now Man United have their worst season. This is more than ever. Man United need to improve now. Man United need to get things done. Man United need to clear shot and start again. What's going on? What's going on, guys? And I want to know. And I know it's only June. And guys, I'm not panicking. I'm not going absolutely ballistic and crazy because I've already said it and I'm not going to flip-flop. End of June, 7th of July is when we have our first outing in regards to pre-season training. 7th of July, right? So I'm giving it around that time. If the transfers are not done by the 7th of July or the end of June. If by the end of June, right, let's say it like this. By the end of June, like I've said, if things ain't like confident, if we're not serious by then, know what, we're going to let loose on them because I'm not going to cry right now because I don't think it's worth me getting irate for no reason. I would say that let's wait until the end of June, beginning of July, when the fiscal year starts, the financial year, and let's see where we are. But at the end of the day, are they filling me with confidence right now? No. Day by day, my confidence is going slowly down like this. It's like this, you know what I mean? And it's just it's getting worse and worse. And I'm not entirely happy. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Rajat, you have your opinion, mate. Respect it, no problem. But millions disagree with you. Good afternoon, Sal. Good afternoon, Francis. How are you doing, Francis Conte? At the end of the day, thank you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're good. Guys. Rajat, name a better available goalkeeper that can handle being a number 1, which is different pressure level. He won't, mate. He'll say a name out, and they haven't been proven to handle the Premier League. So at the end of the day, there we go. But you know what I mean. The funny thing about Rashford is that he don't want to go to Villa. That's the thing. And only wants to go to Champions League club and don't want to lower his wage. In reality, no clubs even want him. He's so deluded. Look, guys, you know what? Football is a great humbler, isn't it? It's a great leveler. It's a great humbler in regards to football. And Rashford has really had his pants pulled down here. Rashford probably felt that, you know what, I could probably sign for Barcelona if I really wanted to. Barcelona have gone out and bought Nico Williams. They've gone out and bought Nico Williams. Do you know what I mean? So they don't want you, mate. They don't. If they wanted you, they would have bought you, mate. But they don't want you, Rashford. What Rashford needs to do, he needs to go back on loan somewhere. I would say for Rashford, go on loan abroad. Go and start yourself somewhere else. Build up your name. Maybe go to France, go to Germany. Go somewhere like that. Build up your name. Come back to the Premier League. You might even be more valuable. You might have goals under your belt. And teams might want to buy you. That's the thing. What happened with Anthony? He went to Betis. He done well in Spain. Teams want to buy him. You know, we've got a few teams after Anthony, by the way. We're just being very quiet at the moment. In regards to Ineos, they're being very quiet. They've got their cards close to their chest and they're not letting anyone know what's going on. I wouldn't mind so much if it wasn't dragging on for so long. As I said in an earlier show in Breaking Dawn, I told you guys that, you know what, if it did drag on so long, I wouldn't even mind. But because it's dragging on so long, I want an explanation what's going on. I want an update. And I think the fans deserve an update of what's going on, to be honest with you, because I don't think the fans, you know, are feeling very confident about Ineos. And I don't blame them. I'm not either now. I'm not either. I'm just calm. And that's it. I'm not inside of me. I'm fuming. Don't worry about that. But I've got the calm and steer. I'll be going ballistic, throwing things everywhere and break up my system and stuff like that. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to keep calm, keep waiting, because I know what they did last summer. And I thought they did okay last summer. I think they did okay if we're being realistic. But you know what? You're only as good as as today in football. Football's very, you know what football is? Football, you can change the course of history in a few months. You know, football, you can make people hate you. The next week, they can love you. That is how football is at the end of the day, you know? So there we go. Freedom needs to accept a wage cut or go to Saudi. Hey, Tulip, you know what? The thing is, will he do that? This is the thing about him, you know? And people trying to argue their point in regards to freedom fighter. You know, it does make me chuckle. It really does. Magnon is a free transfer. He's just as bad as Onana, if not worse. Not as good as Martinez. Makes lots of mistakes. Lunin, same thing. Danny B, and not proven in the Premier League. Forest are getting a top centre-back, Cunha, a prospect from Botafogo, Sal. Yeah, very good. I saw him yesterday. Was it the other day? Was it yesterday, Danny B? Yeah, very good. Their recruitment has been spot on last couple of seasons. This is one we should have been all over. Danny B, look, you know, Danny B, before the transfer window started, we were talking about the South American market quite a lot, weren't we? And we were hoping that, you know what, they would go after the players that we've been going after for the likes of Jimenez, Mastantuano, who we lost out on, of course. And there's players in this World Club Championship. This is why I'm a little bit baffled. Why we haven't got scouts at this World Club Championship. We've got River Plate there. We've got Boca Juniors there. Do you know what I'm saying? Monterrey, you know, of Mexico. We've got those teams at the World Club Championship. So why are we not scouting? Why don't we have scouts there? My friend, a journalist, Jamie Jackson, right? He's out in America right now, you know, watching these teams, And you know what? Why are our scouts not in America right now, watching them and finding the next big thing? You might even find a goalkeeper out there for less than the price. You know what I mean? Obviously, there was that South African player that we were talking about yesterday, you know, and there's going to be more coming along as well as the tournament gets a lot older. It is very disappointing the way we're doing things. Anything is better than Onana at this point. I think, Kenny, you'll be better than Onana at this point. I think I'll be better than Onana at this point. I did start my career as a goalkeeper. I didn't grow tall enough, unfortunately. Held. By the way, madness from our club. If we sack half of our working force and then end up spending 40 million on Martinez, then there are a lot of good keepers we could get for half that. Milinkovic at Savage, absolutely, and use the money for Seaman. And look what's happening in Helge at the moment with Milinkovic Savage. Now, if someone said to me Milinkovic Savage, yeah, because Alex Ferguson scouted him from the beginning and he played for Man United. So what I would say is that, you know, Napoli are going after Milinkovic Savage now. We're going to lose out on these players. We're going to lose, guys, you know, because we're too slow. You know, we're the last team in the Premier League that should be acting slow. We're the last team in the Premier League that should be saying, you know what, never mind, you know, it's all right, you know, never mind. We're the last team that should be doing that, to be honest, guys. Absolutely the last team that should be taking our time with things. Absolutely. Bill. What's the tax in Italy for the likes of SANCHO? Is there a higher tax bracket, as same as UK, say 40%? No. No, it's far less. I think 33%, something like that. It's less than England. England's got the highest tax rate, especially for when you go over a certain amount. When you go over 40 grand a year, then they start taxing you like a madman. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, Britain's full of taxes, you know? People are paying taxes for other people's wars in England. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, and people are just okay with it. It's ridiculous. England, no one beats England in regards to taxes. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, the only problem with Italy is that obviously it's not as many jobs available in Italy and things like that, of course. Big up, Raja. Okay, true, but don't think there's a great of fans claim that Imitana is as a goalkeeper. Look, at the end of the day, Raja, I respect your opinion, mate. Enjoy your opinion. I don't agree. I've seen a lot of goalkeepers. I've seen Schmeichel at his prime, Van der Sar at his prime. I've seen Barthez at his prime. I've seen every goalkeeper you can possibly think of. Jim Leighton, Les Seeley, you name it. I've seen them all, you know, and I would say that he's a good goalkeeper. Is he the best goalkeeper I've ever seen? Hell nah. Probably not. Probably not in the top 10. But at the end of the day, probably not in the top 20. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, is he better than Onana? Hell to the F, yeah. But what would I say? Would I pay 40 million for Martinez? Nah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't pay 40 million for Martinez. I would get someone cheaper. And that is my argument to you, Raja. That's what I would say. You know, but at the end of the day, to claim he's a crap goalkeeper. Look, at the end of the day, you know who's a crap goalkeeper? You know who's a crap goalkeeper? Onana. You know why he's a crap goalkeeper? Because he doesn't win you World Cups. He loses you Europa League finals. That's what he does. Going down like a sloth to his near post to stop that ball going in. Martinez saves that. You know, we win the Europa League, win the Champions League. You know, let's talk about the season before that when we got knocked out by Galatasaray. Right? We were cruising against Galatasaray. And every time we were cruising, who makes a mistake? Onana. You know, let's talk about this season against Lyon. Right? Let's talk about the Lyon game, eh? Let's talk about when that free kick came in and he stood there and the ball bounced over his head into the back of the net. We could do that as well. I'm just thinking of these things on the top of my head. Let's talk about when he saved the ball. Wasn't it against Wolves or something like that? And it hit the crossbar? No, against Crystal Palace. And it hit the crossbar and went straight to Mateta. He could have hit it over the bar. Let's talk about Wolves when he just needed to pick up the ball and it let it slip through his hands and they tapped it in. Look, guys, at the end of the day, you know what? You say potato, I say patata. At the end of the day, you just can't win at the end of the day, guys. Helge. You would think if humble Rashi, but it hasn't. He has still a lowering demands. He's even lost his number of Cunha even before he has left, and he's not out there playing hard to get. He's something else. Part of me feels like Helge. What I would say, Helge, part of me feels like that. You know, they're doing it out of spite. They don't want to leave the club out of spite. They feel like, you know what, they're going to treat me like that. I'm going to run down my contract. They have to pay me. I generally think that I cannot put it past these type of players. I can't do it. I mean, even though you cannot fathom how this could happen at a club like Man United, cultural problem. Most of those players don't give a damn about Man United's history. They really don't. They don't care. They care about their pockets and stuff like that. They do their PR requirements that they're paid to do, go to people's houses, show their faces, community work, stuff like that. But you know what? Overall, it doesn't mean that you're a great person. You know, the devil could go. I'm not saying he is, but the devil comes in all different disguises at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And some people can impersonate a good person. You know what I mean? And be an absolute prat at the end of the day. And I think that, you know, I like Rashford. I feel so sad the way that this is gone. I think it's bad. But the way it's gone, especially with a player that come from the academy, I think that is sad. I think that's wrong, what has happened to him. But you are your own. Sometimes accountability, you know, if you cannot accept accountability for your own actions, how are you going to improve? When someone is being told their whole life and have smoke blown up their backside because his brother is his agent, right? That you're the best. You are not the problem. They are the problem. You're not the problem. They are the problem. You know, that is the problem. That right there is the problem. And that's why these players they think so highly of themselves. Everyone else thinks I'm a good person. Everyone else thinks I'm world-class. Why doesn't Man United think I'm world-class? I guarantee you most teams don't think he's world-class. He probably in his head thinks, Ronaldo, I'm Ronaldo. You know what I mean? Like, for example, right, as we said yesterday, when Maguire tried to give Rashford some advice and he told him to F off. For example, when Cristiano Ronaldo tried to give Rashford some advice and he ignored him. If someone like Cristiano Ronaldo is giving you advice, you stop everything you're doing and you say, what is that? What did you say? What? You know, and listen. And listen, because that is Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo is playing until he's 40. I guarantee you, Marcus Rashford won't be playing until he's 35. Madness. Big up Helge. Onana out. Big up Irfan. Big up yourself. Onana has 3 years left. We must sell before we could get Martinez, highest paid goalkeeper in the Premier League. It's going to be difficult to get rid of Onana. The only thing we can do is buy a goalkeeper. That's the first start. And then after that, you can start pushing Onana out the door. There is interest from Monaco. Hopefully that materializes. The problem is that are they going to pay the money that we need? You know, we might have to take a hit. Juma Mubarak fan, hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining the stream. You legend. Hope you're well. Hope everything is good with you and family and stuff. Big up yourself. Reported fee that Dortmund paid for Joe Bellingham was 26.96. That's Super Sancho. That's Super Sancho. So they rather have a Sunderland player than Sancho. What a mug. Yeah, obviously. Look, you know what? At the end of the day, professionalism is everything, Helge. Professionalism is everything. Professionalism is what I will be looking for. It's what Alex Ferguson would look for. It's what, the professionalism. Little details mean a lot. Jude Bellingham, they come from a background of hardworking people from Sunderland, right? They come from a hardworking background. No, I don't know if they're from Birmingham, sorry. They come from a hardworking background. So at the end of the day, these players, will fit the mold at Dortmund. Dortmund know deep down in regards to Jadon Sancho that he's a trouble. They know that. They've had problems with him in the past, turning up late for training and things like that. This is why they don't want to pay him, even though they like him. They won't pay for him, though. Absolutely. Kenny, if Onana leaves, I'll do a celebration stream. Just joking. Big up, Kenny. If Onana leaves, I'll join you on that celebration. Big up, my friend. Absolutely. Onana won't want to play backup Raja. I agree with that. That's the problem. Emi Martinez is a penalty save expert. Won World Cups, hasn't it? Martinez is sometimes a clown. Yeah, most goalkeepers are, though, fan. I would urge you to find someone who isn't. I think the greatest goalkeepers ever in history have been a little bit, hey. In regards to Schmeichel, it was a little bit, hey. If you think about Barthez, World Cup, hey. If you think about even David Seaman, moustache, hey. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, so you have to look at every personality, I call it. I would like Lemens over even Onana stays. We should buy him in the window. He's affordable. I agree, Danny B. We've been talking about sending Lemens for a very long time, and I agree with that. I like the player, and I think he's young. 20 million, we can get him for around that price, I believe. So he would be a good buy for Man United. Go and get that player. Milinkovic-Savic, another one, played for Man United. Napoli are going after him now. So why don't we go after these players? I don't understand. I don't know what's going on at the end of the day. Have been to Cornwall, maybe. Cornwall, very nice part of the world. Hesty, south of England. Absolutely. Ten Hag is so genius using Wirtz money to get Quenza. Oh, mate. They're not going to win a league. No, Leverkusen want him. Cash player. Deal. Big up, Kevin. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Hope everything is well with you. Embraer Tottenham links to Tottenham again. Hope he comes to Man United. Don't worry about that, Kevin. It's coming from a source that really doesn't have any weight. Duncan Castle's first reported that. I just don't believe it. I know that these journalists just want to add, they call it masala onto deals, right? Just to make it a little bit spicy. So at the end of the day, what it is that anytime Man United come in for a player, they want to add a little bit of negativity to that scenario, to that transfer and stuff like that. So I wouldn't really feed too much into it. Of course, this would happen regarding Martinez. Hello, Villa. How much is for Martinez? Villa, 35, 40 minutes. Okay, bye. That's all that should happen. We shouldn't be thinking about it. Absolutely. That is exactly what it is. And hell, that's a good argument because at the end of the day, that is what I would do. How much? No, you're good, mate. We'll go after someone else. Thanks, though. We'll go after someone else. And that is my argument. I would not turn around and slander Martinez. I would not say that Martinez crap. I wouldn't say that the World Cup doesn't matter. I wouldn't say anything like that at the end of the day. How much I would dream to see England win the World Cup? Bloody hell. I've seen Man United win Champions Leagues. You know what I mean? I would like to see England win the World Cup. At the end of the day, what it is that in regards to the price is just too much and we can't be spending 40 million. That's a waste of funds for me. For me, that is a waste of funds. Absolutely. Big up, Baz. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. I'm with you, Martinez. We should learn our lesson of Onana paying big money for a keeper, once bitten, twice shy. Big up, Baz. Absolutely. And it's exactly what I'm saying. Exactly. the money that we have. Look, if Man United pay 40 million, Baz, for Martinez, I'm not going to believe anything about money ever again with Man United. I'm not going to even talk about money anymore, because at the end of the day, they can afford to pay 40 million for a 33-year-old. So, you know what? Good on you. Know what I mean? Get on with it then. You got money. Get on with it then. And this is exactly what I would say. We can reject 100 million for a 31-year-old Bruno. We can we can pay 40 million for Martinez. Why are we crying about money? We got money. Look at that. We could reject money, pay ridiculous fees for players and stuff. It's madness, isn't it? Grayo, come on, guys, pull your fingers out. 14 likes, really. Show your appreciation for smash the like, subscribe button. For fuck's sake, back Kovar, VTech, problem solved. Big up, Grayo. I agree with that one. Absolutely. All day long. Absolutely. Big up, Baz. Absolutely. And nobody has more patience and time than old people. Nobody has less testosterone than old men. That's the exact opposite of what we need in United. Exactly, Helge. We need fresh, young blood. A bit like America, need fresh young blood, right? To start thinking for themselves, at the end of the day, and what I would say is that, this is the problem with Man United. We got a guy who's like, I'm 77. You know what? There's a vanity project to be made. I want to put my name up in bright lights, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. And so I'm remembered forever. Sir Jim Ratcliffe way. That's what he wants. I live in West Cornwall by the sea. Beautiful part of the world. Beautiful part of the world. Absolutely. Love Cornwall. Brilliant. Best beaches in England, apparently. I haven't been there yet. I've been to Bournemouth. I've been to Littlehampton, Southampton, Exeter. I've been to these places. I haven't been to Cornwall yet, unfortunately. My football travels haven't got me that far yet, to be honest with you. Plymouth will probably be the closest club, right? United Road. Emi Martinez is an absolute prick, but if he becomes our prick, then I'll back him. Anana is just the worst keeper in history. No offense. Big up United Road. There you go. EC, what's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. I think they are taking their time in the window because they don't want to be overcharged and staying firm in prices. I believe we wouldn't be in this situation with rich owner. No, of course we wouldn't, EC. EC, right now, if Qatar, look, let's think hypothetically, right? If Qatar owned the football club right now, guys, we'd be loving it right now. We would be loving it. There would be so much positivity going on right now. It would be unreal, to be honest with you. Unbelievable. Held, me and you knows the psyche of Amram, if you know what I mean. I just understand how important he thinks morale and team building is. So it annoys me him and Rashi, etc. isn't sorted. I mean, if you can't get on with someone like Ruben Amram, then you have the problem. And that's what I would say. If you can't get on with someone like Ruben Amram, you have the problem. And I would say that to Marcus Rashford. I don't think Sancho has a problem with Ruben Amram because I don't think it was his problem, obviously. I think it is more to do with Sancho and Ruben Amram. And the problem with Rashford is the fact that Rashford was in New York when Amram came in. Rashford should have cancelled that trip to New York. He should have done that. The problem is that Rashford comes to training with stomach cramps and has to be sent home because he was partying the night before. That's what we're talking about here. Do you know what I mean? So Rashford not looking at himself in the mirror, not taking accountability for his own actions is where we go wrong every single time. The problem is that we give people who don't deserve contracts. Back in the day, we used to give contracts based on merit, based on what you win and stuff like that. Of course. Grayo, Cashford, Sancho, Short, Mount, and Arna gone out to all on loan to West Wrexham. Be up, Grayo. One thing I would say, Grayo, though, in regards to Ryan Reynolds, I think Ryan Reynolds is an absolute legend, mate. The way he's run Wrexham, right? The way he's come into Wrexham Football Club and done what he's done is absolutely commendable, guys. Many people would have said, oh, look, a Hollywood star coming into soccer and thinking he knows everything about football. Guys, he's shown a lot of people up. Ryan Reynolds has shown a lot of people up. What he's done with Wrexham, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets Wrexham to the Premier League. Absolutely. Brilliant from Ryan Reynolds. Great actor, very good football owner. I would much rather Ryan Reynolds as Man United's owner than bloody Jim Ratcliffe. That's what I would say. And the Glazers at the end of the day. We got the wrong Americans, to be honest with you. Helge. And also going into preseason, if he hasn't got the new signings with him, without personally knowing him, I know he'll be fuming if he hasn't got the new signings. I mean, look, you know what? At the end of the day, I would like to think that Ineos, that Wilcox, Vivell, and all these guys there are doing their work right now. I like to think that it is radio silence, that they're doing things, a lot of things behind the scenes right now. I would like to think that. And this is why they need to get someone who's good at communications, because we all know they're good at tweeting their little fingers. We all know they're good at that. I want to know, like, what's going on. Where's the clarification? What are they doing? What's going on with regards to transfers? What's going on in regards, what's the update? It would be nice, wouldn't it? Emmy's Honours, FA Cup 2019, Community 2015, 2020 for FIFA World Cup, Copa America 21-24, Colombo for UEFA Cup of Champions 2022, Yashin Tova 2023-24. Playing for Aston Villa as well. Let's not forget that as well, you know what I mean? Guys, Emmy was literally Argentina Player of the Year 2024 ahead of Messi and Lautaro. Lucky to have him if he arrives. Tulip, there you go. Oh, you got your work cut out, Rajat. You better go back to the drawing board, my guy. Absolutely. EC, the reason why United players are so hard to sell is because of the contract. Yeah, and having poor character references. Exactly. This is going to take 2 or 3 windows to be considered a serious club again. This is the problem, isn't it? As you said there, poor character reference. These football teams are not stupid. They know the personality of these players. They know who Ruben Amorim is. They know if Marcus Rashford acts like an idiot, they don't want that at their football club. Many teams have ambitions, they've got ambitions and they want to win things. They don't need a player like Marcus Rashford. And I'm pretty sure Aston Villa don't want him either, That I agree with, Rajat. That one I agree with. Absolutely. Big up Grayo, by the way, legend. That's the point Sal making. That's the point Sal is making. You can say the price is overpriced, but he is a good player. Exactly. Just because we think we shouldn't sign someone doesn't mean he's a bad player. Look. Over the last few weeks, I've had people tell me Mbeumo's a bad player. I've had people tell me Cunha is a bad player. I've had people tell me Gyökeres is a bad player. You may not like these players. You may have preference to who you want. That's fair. That's football. Life would be pretty boring. It's a democracy. Life would be pretty boring if we had the same opinion as everyone else. One thing you can't do. For example, right? I used to think that there's some players back in the day that are a little bit overrated, right? For example, right? But I wouldn't never call them crap. I felt that Cantona was better than Bergkamp, but I wouldn't call Bergkamp crap, I would just say, no, I prefer Cantona, And that's the thing. And some people going out saying that, Mbeumo's overrated, Cunha's overrated, Gyökeres is just physicality and stuff like that. That's when the opinion goes down, because you're going, but you're not looking at it objectively and in a fair way to the player, because at the end of the day, they may be a mercenary, they may be a prat, they may be this, they may be that. But are they a good player? Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, is Cherki a good player, even though he grabbed these cojones and stuff like that? You know what I mean? Helge, I wouldn't trust Onana to save a word doc. Some people struggle with that, mate. You know what I mean? Big up, Helge is smashing it. Smash the license, big up, Ephraim. Thank you so much. Onana is talented volleyball athlete. Steve, can you imagine him playing volleyball? Can you imagine, what's that? Fußball of Germany. You imagine he started playing football and stuff like that. That is that. Raja, exactly how I agree with Sal's point, but like how big a personality and is very good on penalty kicks. Raja, we're getting there now. Look, at the end of the day, Raja, I've said it right now. I like Emi Martinez. You don't like Emi Martinez, that's fine. That's your prerogative. But I would prefer a younger goalkeeper. For me, I would want a younger goalkeeper between the sticks, because I want something to look forward to. If Man United do a deal with Rashford or Sancho or Garnacho and manage to get Martinez for next to nothing, then you kill 2 birds with 1 stone, don't you, at the end of the day? But I would say, if we done a deal with Garnacho and Martinez, I would be pissed, because I think Garnacho has a higher ceiling and he's I don't want to go down that avenue anymore. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, Dabby's as Emi personality picked United. I think he would perform good, especially when Emi having no nonsense attitude. He'll get the Nick Sancho, Garnacho like players back in line. There you go. Big up, my friend. Big up everyone. EC. Onana is not that guy. I would definitely take Martinez over him, but not for 40 million. I agree. I believe 15-20 million max is a good purchase. I agree with that. Absolutely. Big up everyone. Guys, absolutely. I agree with that one as well. Plus his experience to us depends on negotiation still. Absolutely. Ephraim, Amazing people want Sancho, not Rashford. Amazing people. I mean, there you go, mate. There you go. At least Rashford put his head down and played football last year, but then again, so did Sancho. But what Sancho has done, they're both similar. They're both two. It's a double-edged sword with Sancho and Rashford. Both the same, mate. You know what I mean? It's like cutting off your finger to spite your face. Is that the saying? Is that the saying? There you go. Baz. Rashford still thinks he's in his prime. Sadly, 40-plus games last season, 10 years has ruined him. How many goals did he score last season? 3? I mean, come on, man. We should have sold him when he scored that when he scored 30-odd goals in that one season. I mean, hindsight's a beautiful thing, though, isn't it? Hindsight's a beautiful thing, of course. Absolutely. Rashford needs to pick PK, humbled for real. Absolutely. Big up, Kenny, for joining. Not to down memory lane, but oh my God, I remember when I told my mate, oh my God, we have, oh my God. Rashford, Sancho, and Greenwood in the attack along with Bruno. I was so happy at that point. Sad it didn't go as planned. Man United happened, didn't it? Held. Why are our players, in particular the young players, always going AWOL? Why? And you can bring in like Ravel Morrison and stuff like that. Why are they going AWOL? Why are our players ill-disciplined? What's going on there? I want to know. Absolutely. Danny, big up Danny B, big up Grayo as well. Anana is a clown, big up Irfan. 20 million max for Martinez. I agree with that, Jane. I agree with that. Few new gen can be weak mentality. New generation definitely weak mentality, mate. Absolutely. Sal, if Martinez not play 3 games, it will be a big problem. It will not if we get VTech back. It'll be all right, you know. VTech's a good goalkeeper. Let me tell you guys. Even brother, how you doing? Well, big up. I'm reading someone else's messages. Rashford PR. Rashford is so good he can just walk into any club he wants. Meanwhile, Barcelona, one hand claps. You just set me up now, mate. You just set me up for that.
Come closer. What is the sound of one hand clapping?
I don't know. What is the sound of one?
Live footage, that guys, an exclusive live footage. Goodness me, my hair's all over the mate. My hair's all over. Look at this. I need a haircut, guys. Bloody, I'll be touching the floor soon. Live footage. That was live footage of Marcus Rashford's meeting with the Barcelona president. There you go. Oh dear. I hope he doesn't watch the show. Rashford, that is. Where were we? Who is point over Man U? Big up, everyone. I'm not out driving, so I can write anymore from now on. And the crowd goes boo. No, I'll connect to you in Bluetooth in the car and still go. Big up, mate. Thank you so much, Helge. Much love to you, brother. Really good to have you on board, mate. Really good to have people like Helge in the stream. You know, you all guys. Look. At the end of the day, we may not agree on everything, but you know what it is. We all have a similar goal, don't we? We're all in the same boat, ultimately. We're going to the same destination, which is a successful Manchester United. Ultimately, at least I hope, we want the same thing. We dream the same thing. We want the same thing. Belinda Carlisle, you know what I mean? I think that, you know, we get caught up in each other's opinions too much, but ultimately, we all want the same thing. We all want Man United to be successful, and that's what I want more than anything. I never thought I would be 13 years without seeing Man United win a title again. In 2013, if someone told me you'll be waiting for 21, right, in 2025, 26, I'd be like, what? Nah, you're pulling my leg. I wouldn't even believe it. I'll laugh at you. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you know, at the end of the day, like it's at the end of the day, as I always say. Come on, people, click the like button. Thank you so much. We want this to go viral and be our #1 United fan channel so we can stop the Blobby and others from brainwashing and making false narratives to younger fans. Unfortunately, I haven't had a stepping stone, you know, like they have. I haven't had, thankfully, I've had big people on this channel that I worked hard to get myself, you know, but I haven't had a stepping stone, a United stand stepping stone like they have, because that's the reason they got the numbers. I haven't had that. But you know what? People like you, AEC, you make it, you know what? I'm going to keep going. We're going to keep going and we're going to keep going. We're not going to stop because that's what they want us to do. They want us to stop and we're not going to stop. Of course not. It doesn't stop. Ephraim, I like Martinez, but we can get better. Him less money. Good point. Up to you, mate. Sal, big up. Thanks for the shout out. Hope you and your family as well. Yeah, Jabbo, big up, fan. Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're keeping well, my friend. Anana is the big flop out. Absolutely. 2 fans in a row. Miles, how you doing, brother? I would rather be limited in my ability, which I was as a player, to give it to my Manchester United. Do they really know what the badge means? Still hope for United. God bless you, sir. Spot on, Miles, as usual, my friend. Spot on. Yorkshire. Cowboy, what's going on, my bro? I hope you're doing well. Afternoon, Sal. Reds, Martinez loves a high-profile hookup, but it's no doubt an upgrade. I just want Mbeumo confirmed. Nearly there, needed there, Yorkshire. We're going to get it any time. Hopefully, I'm not asleep when it happens. Absolutely. Absolutely. Big up. Lost the money, 50 million in regards to who? Mason Mount. Tyber, what's going on, my friend? Good afternoon. Agree with Martinez. He's simply just not worth the money. If he was max 29, I would say, okay, but not for a 33-year-old. We can have a lot better keeper for that money. And as we said, there's the goalkeeper you mentioned earlier, Santos, as you mentioned, Tyberg. There's loads of goalkeepers we could get for less money, you know, who are going to be between the sticks potentially for many years to come. And I think that is what is most important. We need to think ahead in the future. If we can get a Martinez for 10, 15 million, then it's a no-brainer. But 40 million is, you know, a big chunk of what we will get for a striker, what we need to get a striker with. 40 million could go towards a very good striker. You know, if we're going to pay money for Gyökeres or Osimhen or someone like that, you know, put that money towards the striker. Absolutely. Irfan, Onana, Sancho, Antu, Rashid, big up, Irfan. Big up, Grayo. Thank you so much for the super chat, my guy. Thank you, the legend that is Grayo. He is a legend. He always will be a legend. Always. Big up, Grayo. Thank you for supporting the channel, as usual, my friend. The life and soul of the channel are here. The guys who become members, the guys who drop the super chats, guys, every bit helps to build the channel. Of course, everything goes straight back into the channel. That's what I do. Big up, my friend, Grayo, you legend, of course. Absolutely. Sal, I did not much of a fan of Suzuki, but why not bring him in? Third goalkeeper, develop him. At the end of the day, Irfan, he's a similar type of goalkeeper to Onana. I think he's better, right? He doesn't make as many mistakes, but with my Italian connections, he's not look, it all depends on opinion, Irfan, but I believe the best goalkeepers that ever played for Man United are tall, domineering, strong, you know, and can come out for corners. Suzuki's a little bit lightweight for me. I think Man United need a proper domineering goalkeeper, a Courtois. You know what I mean? This is why when I mention goalkeepers, I mention Milinkovic-Savic, I mention Seni Lamens, I mention goalkeepers like that because I know that they're big, they're strong. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day. Guys, I want to thank everyone. Big up Coco, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Since early this week, we went from deals coming in for sure to Mbeumo's second bid going for sure. We ain't going to happen it. It's going to happen, Coco. Don't worry about it, brother. It's happened already, Coco. They're just twisting the media. Don't worry about that. Good afternoon, Sal. Good afternoon, chat. It's already done. Mbeumo's deal was done. Don't worry. They're just not announcing it because they don't want you to talk about other transfers. That is us. I'm not even watching the World Cup. I'm waiting for the knockouts. I'm waiting for the final. Then I'll do a watch along on the final. I'll do a watch along on the final, guys. Grayo, regarding Ryan and Rob, big up, brother. Watching the Welcome to Wrexham series really is awe-inspiring. I watched it to the Chugga Wrexham went through to Suffolk Else Wrexham, having people believe in absolutely what you can do, Grayo. What you can do if you have the passion to do it. Exactly. You know what I mean? I would rather have Mbeumo. It's coming, Jim. It's coming, Jim. My old mucker. It's coming, mate. It's gonna be. Don't worry about that. We'll be here very soon. Big up, Kazi. How you doing, bruv? Good to see you. Don't want to say it, but other clubs. If I speak, I will be in trouble, Kazi. At the end of the day, we all know why, don't we? We all know why. We're taking our time. We foresaw this a long time ago, of course. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. Guys, absolutely. Guys, I want to thank everyone for joining me today. Mateus Cunha is in the house. Not the real one. It might be. You never know. We're funding with a new goalkeeper. Big up. It might not be. Big up. Loco, what's going on? From Tanzania. I'm your new fans. United forever. Big up, Loco Content. Big up yourself. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining the stream. Don't forget to tell all the Tanzanians. Is it Tanzanians? Tanzanians, big up yourself. Tasmanian Devils, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, big up yourself. Thank you so much for joining me, Loco. You're absolute legend. You're welcome. Welcome to Stretford Post. Welcome to the family, my friend. Thank you so much for joining me all the way from there. It's madness, isn't it? Brighton, what's going on, my friend? Good name. Manchester United, my sign is biting now, free agent. That's a new name. That's a new name. Absolutely. Absolutely new name. Guys, big up Gladiator King, by the way. Just giving shout out stuff. I haven't seen Gladiator King today. Big up yourself. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're well. Of course, everyone. I hope they're well. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. You absolute legends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new. And please don't forget to put your notifications on. If we go live for the Here We Go, we'll be here live in the flesh, guys. You know what I mean? Live in the flesh. Guys, take it easy. Don't forget to smash a like as well. It's very important you smash a like as well. Have a great evening, night, morning, wherever you are in the world. Enjoy it and don't watch the news. Just enjoy football and just have a laugh because that's what humans prosper with kindness. You know, that is the most important thing. Take it easy, guys. Have a great night, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. I'm Sal Warner, this Chatterbox. Take it easy. See you soon. Peace.